comprised a number of security agencies to rescue the 2 Canadian women who were abducted in the Ashanti region on the 4th of June. The operation involved the CID of the Ghana Police Service, the Bureau of National Investigations, the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit of the National Security Council, and Defense Intelligence. No foreign assets were involved in the operation. Now, since the day of the abduction of these 2 women, security operatives have been working their contacts with the hope of rescuing them. Intelligence gathering efforts enabled the security agencies to zero in on persons who were associated with the incident. At 1900 hours on June 11, 2019, the first arrest was made in connection with this incident. By 21:15 hours on that same day, one of the persons who was an accomplice or believed to be an accomplice directly involved in this incident was also arrested by the joint team running this operation. A local Ghanaian contact who was providing harboring for the kidnappers was apprehended around 20:45 hours that same night, leading to the arrest of other accomplices. The holding place of the victims was subsequently surrounded just before 5 a.m. this morning, and by 5:15 a.m., the joint team had breached the premises with the hope of rescuing the women. Gunshots were fired from within the premises, but the brief we have is that it took about 25 minutes to complete this operation. At the end of the operation, the 2 Nigerians who were holding the women had been subdued, and a 3rd Nigerian, believed to be the leader of the gang, was arrested later at a separate location. At the end, and currently, 5 Ghanaians and 3 Nigerians are in custody for this incident. One of the suspects is reported to have sustained minor injuries. Other investigations and possible arrests are still ongoing. The victims have been flown to Accra, are currently in Accra. They have been in contact with the Canadian authorities and are undergoing the necessary evaluations following a traumatic incident like this. Preliminary indications that we have is that they are fine. Our thanks go to the Ghana Police Service, particularly the CID and the Ashanti Regional Police Command. Our thanks go to Defense Intelligence, to the Bureau of National Investigations, and to the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit and other units of the National Security Council Secretariat, some of which we may not mention at this point in time. We also want to thank the media who, in the first hours of this incident, when the security agencies reached out and asked for a blackout in the first hours to enable the preliminary works to take place, which has led to this successful operation, the media houses that supported and complied, we want to say a very big thank you to you. Now, we further urge the media, commentators, and the public to avoid speculation, to be circumspect in their commentary as well, as there are ongoing operations on similar matters that could be compromised depending on the kind of commentary that people rush to put out there. May I repeat that? The security agencies want to urge the media, commentators, and the public to avoid speculation and be circumspect in their commentary, as there are ongoing operations on similar matters that could be compromised depending on the kind of commentary that is put out there. Ghana's security agencies continue to assure the general public, including Ghanaians and potential travelers, that Ghana is safe and they have what it takes to deal with any criminal enterprises that may spring up in the country. This is a brief we have for you. We are very grateful.
They are saying that the IGP was in Kumasi during the weekends, but when the Chadi issue happened, the IGP has not been there. So we want to know the updates on the Chadi girls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister for National Security, Honorable Kanapa, you agree with me that abduction and kidnapping has never been the case in Ghana. And we are also being told that some rebels are threatening to come to this country for their own activities. How safe are we? And what are the measures you have put in place as a National Security boss or minister to ensure that some of these things are curtailed or they are brought to an end? And then my second question goes to Mamitiwa. Madam, if you look at Facebook, you are always there. People are saying that you should resign. People are saying that you have not done enough. People are saying that you're giving them false information. I mean, want to find out from you, why did you come out with a statement saying that the girls will be found? If you did say that, I don't know for sure. That's what people are saying. And we are not seeing them. What are you doing to make sure that these girls are rescued? Thank you very much.
The national security relied on satellite data provided by the Canadians, and then they also relied on some Canadian intelligence to rescue the Canadians. Can you clarify that for us?
There are ongoing operations on similar matters, and the security apparatus encourages that we should be circumspect in our reportage and our public conversation because it has the potential of compromising some of the ongoing operations. I'll tie that to the first question about, is there more emphasis on Canadians or foreigners than on Ghanaians? No. The equal level of attention is being given to all of these crimes, regardless of which national is involved. But as has been mentioned, the security agencies require a lot of information and space so that they can do their intelligence gathering and deal with these matters. And we are hopeful that we can all support them by ensuring that they get that information and that space, and then they can get to the bottom of these matters. Reference to the question, how safe are we? A couple of days ago, I think in a statement that we issued from this ministry on behalf of the National Security Ministry, they have just finished an appraisal, and they have come to the conclusion that there are no imminent threats, no actionable intelligence, and that the risk and crime profiles of our country have not changed, and their men and their necessary logistics and equipment are available to them and on the ground to ensure that our safety is upheld. And I think that that position between the time we put out that statement and now has not changed. Where were they rescued? Kenyasi, in a suburb of Kumasi in the Ashanti region. What is their situation? As I've mentioned, they have been brought to Accra. They are currently going through the necessary may I say, engagements with doctors and psychologists, etc., because you do agree that this is a very traumatic experience for them. Those are responses we have to these first set of questions.
Recently, the police came out with a statement inviting the chairman of the National Democratic Congress for the second time, and then there were reports that some of the suspects so far arrested cited him as the mastermind, the alleged mastermind behind the kidnappings. So now I'm wondering, the alleged mastermind behind the kidnapping has been granted bail yesterday out, and then those who are part or suspected to be kidnappers are going to be beyond police cell. If Samofosu Ampofo was to be an ordinary person, would the police grant him bail so swiftly in a day, or because he's a politician?
On the identities of the 5 Ghanaians and the 3 Nigerians who were arrested, there are initial reports connecting some or one of them to a particular group of people. Can you give us the identities of the suspects, I mean the 8 suspects in custody, and whether they actually are linked to any pro-government group? Thank you very much.
Our security agencies followed the earlier intelligence reports, did their work, and then got to the conclusion of this matter. No ransom was discussed or paid between our security agencies and these persons. Now, there's a question about one of the persons arrested in Togo, as reported last week, that is believed to be in connection with the Tadi girls matter. I think because the story has come out, and indeed today he's been remanded by the courts, yes, we can confirm that ordinarily the preference would have been that all of these ongoing operations are kept quiet, because as you keep talking about it and publishing things about it, you keep alerting other people that the security agencies may be onto. But because that is out, yes, we can confirm that one. But that is also evidence that the security agencies are working on that and other related matters. That's all we can say. And like I have said, there are active operations going on, and therefore we encourage all ourselves to be circumspect, and you provide information if you have it. They have demonstrated that they can do a good job. Provide information and let them do that good job. The gunshots, as we understand it, first came from within the premises. I think in the outline that I gave, I mentioned that as well. As I mentioned, the security agencies are still ongoing, tidying up on this particular operation. Yes, some arrests have been made in connection with this. We have no brief that says that this person or that person is associated with this church or that religion or this political party at this point in time. We do not have any such brief that associates any of them.
Obviously, we are not in ordinary times, and as we have some members from national security with us, are we likely to experience a change in the security setup across the country?
What does that mean?
Are we likely
change of uniforms or what? What does that mean?
Are we likely to have snap checks? Some border setup, are we going to have new arrangements going forward that the nation
visibly?
Yes.
Okay. Visibly new arrangements.
Are we going to see some changes?
Very well. Yes, it's true. There was a Canadian team in town. They were in town. We are told to explore ways by which they could find other ways of helping with this matter. But as we are informed, our people on the ground had clarity on what to do, and the result is what you see currently. There's a question about, do we expect more arrests? Well, it's the interrogation that will determine who the masterminds are, etc. So the interrogations are ongoing. It will determine. Does the injured person change the number of persons involved in this, and is that separate? No, it doesn't. It is one of the two Nigerians who was, apprehended at the premises where they were holding these persons, and it doesn't change the numbers. Reference to general terrorism conversations, I think Ghana has an anti-terrorism plan, a very broad one. First part of it is to prevent it. Prevention requires a high level of awareness among people so that people will report strange things that they are observing. If they observe any strange persons in their communities trying to recruit people for all sorts of enterprises. And I think already the level of awareness is coming up. You've seen people, particularly in our northern regions, reporting very small things. They see somebody in a church with something, they quickly report. They see somebody at a bar doing something funny, they report. And recruit you, forgive the pun, we want to recruit you to help us continue with the public education and the public awareness creation that, yes, you're right, times all over the world are changing, and so we all need to be on the alert and quickly inform the security agencies who have proven that when they are informed, they can act. Do inform them, and whatever they need to do, they will do. And there's a question about whether or not there's an update on the Takoradi girls. I think I mentioned earlier that as some of you reported, which we had hoped would not have been reported, just last week some arrests were made in connection with that. That tells you that there's an active operation ongoing there. If anybody has further information, you can please do well to make it available to the security agencies. And the same level of seriousness that they attach to all of the others that have happened recently, which they have dealt with, they are applying that same level of seriousness. We are most grateful. Thank you.
Hold on, girl, now wait just a minute. I've got something to say, you should hear it. Oh, I'm happy to make time.